from society.
Thanks for coming all the way from El Paso to be here for the first Crossroads Festival.
I am happy to be in the RGV.
Is this your first time in Brownsville?
Actually, I used to live in McAllen, Texas when I was a young kid.
Okay.
But I haven't been to the Valley in a pretty long time. My wife has family here.
But not in Brownsville. You've been
Not in Brownsville, but in McAllen. So actually, this is my first time in Brownsville.
What do you
here.
think?
I love it. It's great, man. I love the cool air. I love that it's so close to the ocean.
Yeah.
It's very different from where I'm from, in the west edge of Texas where I'm from. It's very dry, very brown, very desert. Here, it's always nice to see when things are green.
We just got the designation of having the second most historical downtown.
It's a very nice downtown, by
Texas.
the way. Yeah, it's very nice downtown.
San Antonio. So you've seen the streets here and the buildings.
I've had a chance to walk it. It's a very nice downtown.
It's really very remarkable. Like literally, if you take all these cars out and take the cameras, you have a studio lot.
Yeah.
You
kind of do, actually.
That you can shoot for the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, I kind of like what you've done with the Crossroads Festival here. How you're implementing film and music and food, and it's all literally right here, all next to each other. So yeah, it does kind of feel like
we're just in charge of the film section. Our mayor Trey Mendez and Ramiro Gonzalez, they're the visionaries for this festival.
And I got to meet Mayor Trey earlier today. Very nice guy. Yeah. And it was great. I got to, do the political track this morning too, over at the Playhouse.
Yeah. Matamoros' mayor was also there, right?
Yes, and that's Mario Lopez, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so he was there, and it's always great to see, two mayors like that together. El Paso being the board town next to Juarez, it's always great. And I think it's great too that both of those mayors are, participating in this festival, and it's great to see that a lot of your, city officials are so involved in this festival as well. Yeah. Even though it's only the first year, and as I see you guys kind of growing as the southern South by Southwest.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so.
South by Southwest.
Well, it's just Austin's such a great city, but it's getting so expensive.
It is, yeah.
And they say, I don't know who said it, but I'm saying it, that Brownsville might be the next Austin or the South.
Sure.
Austin of the South.
Yeah.
The southernmost tip of Texas. But let's talk a little bit about. So you are the director for the El Paso Film Festival.
Yes.
And how many years has that been going on?
So believe it or not, we started the El Paso Film Festival in 2018. For a city of our size, no one had ever done a name festival before. And I myself graduated from UT Austin in 2007, came back home, started my film production company. And during that time, when I came back as a young filmmaker, I got to meet other filmmakers there. And it would so happen that a lot of us would work on all these great movies, some that would pass through El Paso, some that were out of town, and we never really had a venue to screen them at. Originally, I was involved with the Plaza Classic Film Festival, which was also in El Paso, and they would show classic films, but then we would also show kind of local, we would call it local flavor, so we would just show films from El Paso filmmakers, and then it got to a point where I'm like, you know what, I think I can spin off into just an independent film festival. And lo and behold, even 5-6 years ago, elpasofilmfestival.com and .org are available. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy these, and this is going to be a project that I will do someday, and 2018 happened to be that year.
Do you get support by the city? Or?
Well, we have, to start out, we did get an MCAD grant, which is the Museum of Cultural Affairs department from the city. So they gave us a grant to start the film festival downtown, but also a lot of it was raising money from businesses, private donors, things like that. We also partnered with the Paso del Norte Community Foundation, so their umbrella as a 501c3 is what also helped us get established. And the first year went great, and then the second year
you had Robert Rodriguez, right?
The second year we brought Robert Rodriguez.
I think some of his brothers live in McAllen.
Probably does. Yeah. I mean, I think he's like one of 10 kids, so
it
wouldn't surprise me.
Family.
It wouldn't surprise me.
So let's talk a little bit about the do's and the don'ts or what are the strategies?
The way we kind of break it up, or at least this is also how I learned about managing a film festival and putting on and things and stuff like that. Is there's different tiers of a film festival. So, you've made your short film, you've made your feature film, and you're looking for a place to kind of, show it, get an audience for it. So obviously your tier ones are your Sundances, your South by Southwest, Toronto, Telluride, all those big name ones. where you see a lot of the big films. And then you have, and again, I hopefully no festivals. If you hear this, if I got you on the wrong tier, I'm sorry. But but then you have like your tier twos, which are your like Atlanta Film Festival, Chicago Film Festival. I want to say anything that is Oscar qualifying is also in the tier 1 or the tier 2 area. It just depends. And I say tier 1 or tier 2 just by the size. Right. You know, as you mentioned, Austin is being very big. You know, South by is one of the biggest festivals I ever go to. But then if you go to something like Austin Film Festival, it's a little bit more intimate. Yeah. Atlanta's more intimate. Chicago's more intimate. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few others. I know that Dallas International, I think, is getting there to tier 2. Big, yeah, that one's getting pretty big as well. And then you have tier 3s, which are, you know, kind of the smaller city ones. You know, so you'll have like El Paso, you'll have Phoenix, you'll have Crossroads. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so that's the difference between tiers 1, 2, and 3. Tier 4 is when it's those biweeklies, the monthlies, and they don't really have a physical place. So, you know, the tiers 1, 2, and 3, you actually have to travel to a city. Yeah. You have to travel to somewhere new.
Well, those tier 4 ones, you submit and then they say, hey, we really liked your film. And they have they have like 1,000 categories, right? But you want to be considered for an award, you have to pay for that particular submission. And they send you an email saying, hey, we really liked your sound design. Basically, they're saying, hey, apply, give us money and we'll give you an award.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the difference is you have to look when you're, you know, when you're on Film Freeway or whatever you're using to submit your films. So
basically, it's kind of a scam, right?
You know, I
say it. Come on.
I don't really want to say it because I also don't know the people who run those, but I say that based on the experience that's provided. You know, when you submit to like a tier 4 festival, it's just a quick, you know, we have it every week, but you never know who that's being shown to. I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone traveling to one of those. Yeah. So I don't know if they actually went there, they paid for the reward and got it. And
because then they say, hey, you won an award, but you have to pay for it.
And
it's like $200. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference with, you know, the tier, you know, 3, 2, and 1s that we're all a part of. Like in El Paso, if you win an award, we pay you. Yeah, we pay you cash.
But now all these festivals are just becoming for profit.
I mean, it is, but also because I think with, you know, with technology getting cheaper, you know, just the filmmakers have exploded. You know, when you and I were in college, we were either using film or it was barely the infant days of digital where we're using like Panasonic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I remember when I finished my first short. Legit short, which is maybe about 10 years ago, and I started submitting, you had to send the physical DVD. Yeah. So it was probably harder for people, or you would get, I'd assume that film festivals would get less submissions because people would have to burn them and then they have to mail them, and now you just click one button and then you submit. So all the film festivals are getting tons and tons of submissions.
Yeah, and I remember too when I was doing a festival route with a feature, and that was back in like 2010, 2011. You know, I had to put my master on HD cam, you know, on a big cassette tape. They weren't playing Blu-rays, they weren't playing DVDs yet. Now everything is DCP and digital. So yeah, it's a lot easier for people to become filmmakers. But again, the one advice I can always give everyone is remember, story and sound are what gets you into festivals, especially with ours. I happen to be a location sound mixer by trade, so I do listen to your audio, and if the audio is not good, I tend to not play it. And it's not anything against the filmmaker or the story, but when you play a big venue, a theater venue especially, you know, if it's difficult for the audience to listen to your story, they're not going to like it. You know, people forgive bad picture, they won't forgive bad sound. Yeah. So you can film your movie on an iPhone, and if it has the greatest sound design I've ever heard, I will probably try to play it. But of course, if it doesn't have good sound, it's just going to end up hurting your entry.
How many submissions do you get on average? Or at least how many submissions did you get this last year?
So this last year, we had about 175 and
175 features?
No, 175 submissions total.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So actually, wow, out of those features, I want to say we had about 30 and features? Then the rest were short films. And because we play a lot of short films.
How is the selection process? Do you watch them all, or do you have people watch?
Actually, I try to make time to watch them all. But I also do have, filmmaker friends in El Paso
Yeah.
who serve as like other screeners. And, again, we're doing everything on Film Freeway. So I tell them, make sure to watch it, write me your review, give it stars, tell me if you recommend it. But I'll still do my best to still look at them. Film festivals are also, they're a reflection of the community and the personality of the people running them.
Right.
So you have to treat them as, a person.
Yeah.
Would this person think my film would fit into what their festival is?
Yeah.
And that's always the big question when trying to plan your festival strategy. Because I know sometimes filmmakers don't know where to start. They're like, well, I'm going to send it to Oregon. It's like, well, why? We're down here in Texas. Have you tried Texas festivals first?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, and this does happen. I remember getting a few submissions for documentaries. I remember there was a really nice one that I liked from Philadelphia, and it was about a brewery there. But I just couldn't figure out the connection for an audience that would be Texan and in El Paso and regionally. And not to say they made a bad documentary. It was just one of those that I remember.
It wasn't the audience.
It was. I didn't think it was the audience, and so that's why you have to remember that festivals, big or small, they are limited in how many films they can show, short films, feature films. And usually we try to program things that reflect of either what is going on in our region or our city, or we feel that there's shorts that people can connect with. So like, for example, last year, usually if someone submitted a short documentary, anything about the border or immigration, I did take a very hard look at that to see if it was telling a story that people would connect with here. But also too, there was a documentary I got to see at South by Southwest last year called Building the American Dream by Chelsea Hernandez. That one I saw at South by. I loved it, and literally when she came to the El Paso Film Festival and we brought that film, I told her I brought it because
you saw it.
Well, this whole documentary is happening right in front of you because our downtown is under heavy construction.
Yeah, I saw.
It's under heavy.
Your downtown is amazing.
Yeah, but it's all being revigorated. It's all being rebuilt.
Yeah.
They're opening up old hotels that were almost condemned.
Yeah.
And but kind of just showing her like your documentary very much made me feel like, wow, okay, this is what's happening here, and I think people should know about the what the construction workers are and who they are, their lives, and that kind of thing. So, a lot of times we try to program films that will connect with people, but at least not just in our region, but also give them a different perspective. And that's what most film festivals are. Obviously, when I came here to Crossroads, the programming you've had here has been very unique to Brownsville. I try to travel to different festivals every year. There were so many shorts and features that I saw at South by. I would extend the invitation. Some would take it, some wouldn't. And then
really? People would say no?
Yeah, or some of them just weren't interested. Again, it's because a lot of times, once you're in a big tier festival, a lot of times people will just put it online and then say, well, we're not interested in doing the festivals anymore. We got into South by, we got into Sundance, we're done.
I got a response and from people that I know from USC. I saw their trailer online and they had a really good family movie. And I reached out to them. I said, hey, do you guys want to screen your film at Crossroads? And then they said no.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, you don't have to pay. It's just free. It's just we're looking for good content for family. And they were like, no, we don't want to do it.
Yeah. A lot of times, like I said, they have their own distribution plan, or like I said, there were films I've seen at South by that then they never traveled to other film festivals. Sometimes they just stop there, or
if I was in their shoes and somebody invited me to their film festival for free, it's like hell yeah, more people are going to watch my film.
I guess it really depends. It really just depends on the filmmakers, and I think still going to other festivals and seeing other content, I feel like that's also the best way.
Yeah.
Because, and especially, if film festivals have online premieres, we're okay with that as a festival, because even though your film is online, a lot of times our regional audience or our audience that's in our area may not know that this film exists. So you might tell people like, there were a few films after South by that said, yeah, well, we're going to put it online for free anyway. Well, okay, that's fine. I'm still going to play it here because no one has seen it. And do you just want me to share the link? I can do that too, but I'd rather play your movie in a theater,
right? So
people can get used to it. Because that's the other thing about films, guys. You have to remember to play in a theater. It's one thing to watch it on an iPad or on your phone, but I feel like that's how too many people are consuming media these days. And it is always nice to see something that's brand new and independent that you're not going to watch in a mainstream theater. So I think that's why film festivals like Crossroads, like ours, El Paso Film Festival, are very important to the community.
Yeah. Tips for filmmakers to submit?
Yeah, so the magic time length that I would always recommend people is 7 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
7 to 12 minutes is a short film. 15 is still okay, as long as your content is good. Mm-hmm. Once you go past 15, you need to be very careful, because then you start getting into, and people may argue with this, but once you hit 17, 18, 20 minutes, mm-hmm. that's a TV pilot, guys. Yeah. That a lot of people don't realize that, but and I know that South by Southwest started something like that, where they were calling it TV pilot episodes.
Oh, really? Okay.
But to me, they were like, okay, these look like very good short films, but they're in the 22, 23 minute range. Yeah. But they could be short films. Yeah. But again, every festival is different. Mm-hmm. I have programmed films that are beyond 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I did program one that was like 28, but again, it was very good. And I thought, I'm like, wow, okay, people need to see this one. It's got to be spectacular. It's got to be very, very spectacular. So yeah, just remember that the longer your film is, the more spectacular it has to be. Yeah. But little ones that are there, like, the two to
you only have, let's say, an hour block, so you rather show 6 10-minute short films than 2 25-minute short films.
Yes, that's another thing too, is that a lot of these blocks that are at film festivals are 60 minutes. I think I've been to one where it was 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So you're only seeing 3 films, maybe 4 at the most. Yeah. And then you have also your 90-minute block. But I've never seen short films that are longer than 90 minutes. 7 to 12 minutes for short films is always the magic number. Mm-hmm. 15, you're still okay, but try not to go past that. And then anything past that, remember, it's got to be spectacular, because you're approaching TV pilot.
Right. Well, thanks again for being here. We hope that you come back to Brownsville.
I loved it here. So I really want to come back to Crossroads too.
Yeah, we're going to be here next year.
Thank you, Rene.
BFF. Brownsville Film Society.